You look at a Maya pyramid and think they must have had metal tools, but they didn't. No iron, no steel, no wheels hauling stone. So how did they lift a mountain of rock into the sky? I'm standing in the humid lowlands at dawn, where the jungle breathes out mist like smoke. Birds scream from the canopy. Somewhere beyond the ceiba trees, a city is waking up. Stone plazas, painted facades, incense, and footsteps. And then I see it, a pyramid rising above the tree line, a mountain built by human hands. Here's the question people ask in my own time, with the confidence of modern steel. How did the Maya build pyramids without metal tools? No iron chisels, no saws, no cranes. In most places, not even the wheel used as a practical construction technology. And yet they shaped stone, lifted it, stacked it, and coated it in a finish so smooth and bright it could catch sunlight like a mirror. The answer isn't one magic trick. It's a system, materials, geology, organization, and patience, working together like gears in a machine made of people. If you want to understand Maya construction, you begin with what's under your feet. Much of the Maya lowland sits on limestone, a rock that's abundant, workable, and, importantly, sometimes soft enough to shape when freshly quarried, then hardening as it dries and carbonates. This is not a perfect rule everywhere, but it's one reason limestone became the backbone of Maya architecture. Many buildings are essentially refined limestone in different forms: blocks, rubble fill, plaster, stucco, and mortar. So when you picture a pyramid, don't imagine a single solid stack of gigantic monoliths. Often, you're looking at a core of rubble and fill, contained by facing stones, a structural recipe that uses mass and geometry instead of metal reinforcement. It's efficient, it's stable, and it's scalable. And it means the Maya didn't need to cut and move impossible stones like some other ancient monuments did. They needed a lot of stone, yes, but much of it could be smaller, manageable pieces, shaped and fitted with skill. Now we step into the workshop, where the myth breaks apart. The Maya had metallurgy in limited forms in later periods, but for most of their monumental building tradition, stone was the primary material for tools. Chert and other stone materials were central in Maya toolmaking. They were, for most practical purposes, building without a widespread metal tool economy. So what does a stone tool construction site look like? Harder stone hammers and hammerstones for pounding and rough shaping. Chert tools for pecking, flaking, and trimming. Abrasives, sand, crushed stone, water, used like a slow, gritty saw blade to grind and smooth surfaces. Wooden levers, wedges, and sled-like platforms to move and position blocks. The process is slower than steel, but it's not primitive, it's methodical. A common trick in stoneworking worldwide is this. You don't always cut stone the way a modern saw does. You score, peck, fracture along natural lines, then grind to refine. With enough labor and time, stone can be shaped surprisingly precisely. And because limestone is relatively workable, the Maya could produce clean faces and tight joints where it mattered most, especially on exterior facings and decorative elements. Walk with me to the quarry. In many Maya cities, stone sources were close, sometimes integrated into the city itself. The Maya could extract limestone from nearby outcrops and pits, then transport it to construction zones with short routes. The shorter the haul, the less you need wheels or beasts. And when the stone comes out, it often isn't moved as a finished sculpture. It's moved as rough blocks, then dressed closer to where it will be used, reducing waste and transport effort. But quarrying is only half the story. Now we approach what I consider the Maya's most underrated technological achievement: lime. Limestone isn't only a building block, it's a chemical resource. Heat limestone, and you can produce quicklime. Then add water to make a lime paste, which hardens over time by reacting with carbon dioxide in the air. This is the basis of lime plaster and stucco. This matters because plaster and stucco do three powerful jobs at once. Bonding. Lime-based mortar helps lock stones together. Protection. It shields softer limestone from weathering. Finish. It creates a smooth surface ready for paint. reds, blues, blacks, turning stone into a bright, living skin. Their scholarship focused specifically on Maya lime plaster technology and how it changes through time. Because this wasn't an accidental discovery. It was refined, practiced, and repeated for centuries. So when you imagine a Maya pyramid, don't imagine bare stone like an unpainted museum model. In its prime, it could be white and luminous, or color-banded and icon-covered, visible from far across the forest. And here's the hidden cost. Making lime requires fuel, a lot of it, which means construction is tied to woodland management, labor planning, and city power. So, how do you lift and move all this? Without cranes, without steel cables, without draft animals in the old world sense, the Maya relied on something both simple and terrifyingly effective: organized human labor. Teams hauling stones on sleds or platforms over prepared ground. Rollers of wood in some contexts, though forest terrain and uneven ground could limit how useful they were. Levers to raise stones incrementally. Earthen ramps, the unsung hero of pyramid construction. Ramps are the quiet solution. If you can build a ramp of soil and rubble, you don't need to lift a block straight up into the sky. You drag it up a slope, step by step, with ropes and coordination. Then you remove or reshape the ramp as the structure grows. And remember, the Maya often used fill. Massive volumes of rubble and compacted material create height without requiring every piece to be a perfectly carved block. The precision is concentrated where it matters: facing stones, stairways, corners, temple rooms, and decorative masks. A pyramid is naturally stable. It's a shape that turns gravity into an ally. Wide base, stepped terraces, load spread downwards. If you're building without metal reinforcement, you want a form that doesn't demand long horizontal spans and thin supports. That's why Maya monumental architecture often favors thick walls, stepped masses, and, inside buildings, one of their signature solutions to spanning space. Inside palaces and temples, the Maya used the corbel vault, a technique where rows of stone project inward course by course until they meet at the top. It's not a true arch with a keystone, but it creates a roofed interior using stacked masonry logic. I'm watching workers set stones along two opposing walls, each layer nudged slightly inward. The opening narrows. The space becomes a triangle, then a slit, then sealed with capstones. It's slow, but it's repeatable, and it uses compressive strength, which stone handles well. This is how you build grand interiors without steel beams. Now look closely at many Maya pyramids and you'll discover something almost paradoxical. They're often not one building, they're many buildings. A common pattern across Mesoamerica is superimposition, building a new temple or pyramid directly over an older one, enlarging and renewing sacred architecture over time. That means each phase provides a stable platform, a proven footprint, and sometimes reusable fill. In human terms, it's like this. A pyramid is not a single project. It's a living monument that grows with the dynasty, the calendar cycles, the politics, the need for legitimacy. Every new layer is both engineering and propaganda. People assume ancient builders eyeballed everything, but the Maya could achieve impressive alignment and symmetry using plumb lines, simple weighted chords for vertical true, string lines for straight edges, leveling through water in channels or containers, repeated checks from multiple reference points across the plaza. You don't need laser levels to build a straight staircase. You need consistent reference methods and a culture that trains specialists. And the Maya had specialists: masons, plasterers, painters, planners, supported by a society capable of concentrating labor. 10. Labor is technology, the pyramid as a social machine. Here's the part that's easy to overlook if you only stare at stones. A pyramid is a social structure before it's a physical structure. To build at this scale, you need authority that can mobilize workers seasonally, food production to feed them, logistics to move materials and fuel, knowledge transmission to maintain standards over generations. This isn't just people carrying rocks. It's scheduling, training, supply lines, and ritual purpose. In many Maya cities, monumental construction aligns with political events, new rulers, major ceremonies, victories, alliances. Building becomes a public act of power, visible proof that the gods favor a dynasty, that the city is orderly, that the cosmos is being maintained through human effort. Because metal is not the only path to monumentality. For the Maya, the combination of abundant limestone, stone tool traditions, lime plaster and stucco chemistry, corbel vaulting methods, and organized labor was enough to produce cities that still command the horizon. Metal would have sped up some tasks, yes, but speed isn't always the limiting factor when you have time, manpower, and a design philosophy that works with compressive stone rather than against it. The day climbs higher, the plaza fills, drums begin. I look up at the pyramid again, but now I force myself to see it the way the Maya might have. Not as bare blocks, as a living surface, stuccoed, painted, repaired, renewed. A stairway that's both path and theater, a temple at the summit like a crown. The builders don't talk about metal tools because their world doesn't revolve around them. Their world revolves around cycles, gods, lineages, and the promise that stone can hold time and place. And when someone asks, how did they build this without metal? I want to answer, they didn't build without technology. They built with a different kind of technology. Stone chemistry, geometry, and society. And they made it strong enough to outlast empires that did have metal.